So we should be finishing up Taf Lamed Vav. It's not a very long siman, and beginning Taf Lamed Zayin. Taf Lamed Zayin is very much a hemshich of Taf Lamed Vav. It's also a pretty short siman, and I think after that on the Marmar Chometz is the Taf Lamed Hey, which is an even shorter siman. So we should basically be finishing up Taf Lamed Hey, Vav, and Zayin by Rosh Chodesh. It really shouldn't. It's not so much. Lamed Zayin is a little bit more of a hemshich of Taf Lamed Vav. I do that before Taf Lamed Hey. Taf Lamed Hey is it's also a hemshich. It's mamish all one sugya, so that should be serious with the plan. That another week and a half. Okay, so Siman Taf Lamed Vav is Gemara Daf Vav. Gemara Daf Vav tells us that Hagam, that the Iker Din of Arla Basa Berkis Chometz L'Arneh refers to someone who is in their house for Pesach. He's there. So you want your house to be clean of Chometz. So Mela Arla Basar, you have to be both with Chometz. And it's not enough to do Bittul, even though Menachir Bittul is enough. Like we saw in Daf Beis, Rashi, Tosfos, Siman Taf Lamed Gimel. Like to shine but Midar Rabbanan Tiknu, that it's not enough the Derech Klal to be Semich on Bittul Chometz. You need also beer and Bedikas and beer, which means you have to find the Chometz and get rid of it. And not to have Chometz Be'ein as far as you know. That's obviously all without the question of Mechiras Chometz. So the Gemara tells us that Lamaisa there's a chiluk when you leave your house. The Gemara on Daf Vav is talking about someone who has his own house, he's leaving for a time, and then he's coming back to his own house after Pesach or before Pesach or during Pesach. That's what the whole noise is about. It's a person's own house that he's leaving and coming back to. So the Gemara tells us this chiluk edinin, be'oifen like this, that if you're leaving, if you're planning on coming back on Pesach, that's klal l'kuli alma, so then it's a regular din. You're like a regular din of Arla Basar. The only problem is you're not going to be there Arla Basar. It's a very simple technical point. Since you're not going to be there Arla Basar, so take care of the issue that most people take care of Arla Basar. You take care of whenever you leave. It doesn't matter when you leave, even if it's way before Pesach, even from the Tchilas Hashana, l'maisa you're coming back on Pesach. What's the problem when you come back on Pesach? The same problem everyone has who lives at home. You have a problem of Lefi Tosfos Shema Yochal. So if you come on Chol Hamoed, you come back home for the second days, you have a problem Shema Yochal. And Lefi Rashi, we saw that the Chayvas Bedikas was maybe because of Bal Yeroyah, because maybe when you'll see a Gluska Yofe, you'll start changing your mind, you'll start not wanting to be in your... It's a Kshash, your Bittul won't be a Bittul Lagamri. And the Mela Rechai Bedikas Beer.
Without limits.
So last day before you leave? Or you do 2 days before you leave?
The place can say the night, but they're assuming you're leaving by day. I guess this Monday and they didn't travel at night. So the night before. Yeah, exactly. Makes no difference, right? And then we have a shayla in the Rishonim. What if you're planning on coming back before Pesach, or Richosh you're going to get back on Pesach? That's Machlokes Rishonim. Rashi and the Rambam, Sif Aleph and Sif Beis. Now, the Gemara is Machadish, but if it's Toich Lamed Yoim, and you're leaving for Pesach and you're not planning on coming back, Afal Pike, you're mechuyev to do Bedikas and beer like everyone else. And this is where the Chiddush of this sugya starts. We're talking about someone who's leaving his house. He's not going to be around in this house. It would not make any sense to do Bedikas and beer. Afal Pike, you're mechuyev to do Bedikas and beer. And the Gemara says, why 30 days? From when? From 30 days. Why? Because Shloshim Yom Kaid L'Chag, it's when you start being Oisik B'Dochas Pesach. So...
That's Mechayvas?
Oh, so what's the Mechayev? So the says L'chayra, Yesh Ladan, but L'chayra, the timing for Bedikas and beer, meaning not being Semich on the Bittul. Again, we're assuming that we're talking about someone who's doing a Bittul, he's going to do a Bittul, and al yidei that Bittul, he'll take care of his problem with Bali Rabbi Matzi, he'll take care of any Issa D'Oraisa. We're talking about Takanas Chazal, that even with the Bittul, this is not 100% pashut in the Sugya, the Marshaz and Mahalach and Rashi, that it's without Bittul, but assuming that we're talking about with Bittul, so why would you need Bedikas and beer? Shema Yochal. Even if you leave Toich Shloshim Yom for Pesach, and you're learning Shtar, Lamed Yom Kaid Machag, you're learning all the halachas, but what's it to do with Shema Yochal? You're not going to eat the chametz, you're not going to be home. Aleph, Beis, Mitzad Rashi. Mitzad Rashi, we saw, it wasn't 100% clear what Rashi on Daf Beis means, Bali or Bali Matzeh. But if you assume like some Acharonim, the pshat is if on Pesach you'll see some of the chametz, without doing Bedikas beer, you're going to see some of the chametz, and then you're going to start having charata from your bittul, or you'll decide you don't want to burn it, and maybe it'll be over mikan haba. Both of these time kipshuta don't apply to a person who's not going to be there on Pesach. So very nice, you're learning what we're doing. What's the mechayev? What is the mechayev to do Bedikas beer? Just because it's Toich Lamed Yom, they already matal on you the chiyuv. So there's two drachim we could say. Either we could say that the emes, the time do apply. The Chazon Ish is takamashma like this in Siman Kuf Chav Dal and Archaim is ha'aras on the Masechta. And there he's mashma that la'olam the Chashash Shem Yochel applies across the board. Chazal always chayshish because a person owns chametz, it's daitei love, it's his. So even if it's in your house and you travel abroad, maybe you'll come home.
Even when it comes after Pesach?
No, you were chayshish, you'll come during Pesach. I am away, I'm not planning. You're not planning, but maybe you'll come back. And Lafi Rashi, there's also makom to say, like we saw, that even without the problem of seeing chametz on Pesach, that you decide that you want to be chas on that chametz, maybe we're just chayshish that your bittul is not a good bittul because you know about the chametz in your house. You won't be vatal b'lev shalom, so mele b'chayv b'dikas.
It's like he's moving.
Right. So we
What
could.
does that do with Shom
What's that?
What does it do with Shom Darshan?
Oh, so in a Hanami, that's the first thing. That you're saying Imkain, let it be Chal even before Lamigin.
Yeah.
And if the time will apply, right, so that's right. Clearly they don't equally apply to someone who's in his house, not in his house. So we'd have to say, Shalom and Darshim is together, that since the Mais B'cholif and it's Shaykh, so Toich Lamed, we're matal on you the Chiyuv that everyone who's at home for Pesach has, will be Mechel on you as long as you're there within 30 days, because that's when we decide, again, it's a Takana de Rabbanon. So Chazal, Hey Momru, Hiskinu, that Toich Lamed, that's from that time we're going to be Mechel B'chiyuv. The emphasis is the Pashtas L'chayra, from the fact that the Gemara is looking for a reason, and Toich Lamed, and the Gemara is saying, since it's Toich Lamed, it's already, and the Lashon of the Poskim is all, it's already Chal V'chiv. It's Chal V'chiv, it doesn't go, it's not Paka. So that emphasis is more mashma, that it's a Pasha Loi Plug in a Chanam. When you're traveling abroad and you're not planning on being back for Pesach, there's no reason to assume, when you're, especially Bisman Chazal, in Farish, Yotze B'Shiara, you were far away, there's no reason to believe that you're going to come back on Pesach, during Pesach, the end of Pesach, and Memel is no Chash Shem Yoichal. And Memel is no Chash, L'fi Rashi, that you'll find some of your Chametz and Bichas Alei, and Memel decide you don't want to have an Emes Bittul B'chulu. So Memela in a Chanami, the timing for Bittul, theoretically don't apply. Not for Bittul, for Bedikas and Beer, don't apply. And Afal Pikain, Loi Plug. Since within 30 days, that's the time when we're already worrying about Chometz, the place can bring it to the end of the Siman, that from Purim, from 30 days before Pesach, that's the time you have to start being aware of what's going on in your house, still Gabe Chometz. You should make sure little crumbs don't go in places where it's going to be hard to get them clean. That's ready from their Rishonim, the Haril, to end of the Siman. So from then they were Matal Akiva, and Echnami, it's Loi Plug. So as long as you're in your house at the time where everyone's starting ready to worry about Chometz, and then you have to also worry about it, and you can't just leave your house and be Samech HaBittul, even though the time might theoretically not apply. Fine. So that's the Pashtos. Now, there's a Shaila we also already in the place, the Magid of Rambam, Sifat and Beis, that the Mashmaos, it's a question of Mashmaos, the Rambam Emes already makes the deal. Derech Klal, in the Gemara, in Shonim, the Lashon Beer refers to Bedikas and Beer. When you say you have to be Mevayer, Beisoy Shal Nachri, it doesn't mean to burn down the house of the guy. It means to buy the chametz in his house, get the chametz, and clean out the house. That's what it means. Like we saw B'yarti HaKodesh Ben Abayis, some Rishonim say it's a Lashon Bedikas. So there's a Shaila in the Rishonim and Poskim. It's that is Machlokes Bal Yerushalmi. Halacha L'maisa, what boils down to Machlokes Magid Ram Chayk Yaakov. Does this whole chilek and this whole kula that when you leave before 30 days, Chazal left you alone and allowed you to be Samech on the Bittul by itself, does that even apply to Chametz Yadua? If you know about the chametz in your house, you know that you're leaving, you have two homes, you have a winter home, a summer home, you're leaving your summer home, you know your house is full of chametz, and it's before 30 days, could you just leave and be samech on the fact that since it's before 30 days, midaraisa you have bittul, you have no problem of, you don't have to do any bedikas biyah. And again, this manenu, it's always going to boil down to mechir's chametz, but this is talking without a mechir, just leave your house, you don't do mechir. So that's machlokes. Mishnah brings 2 days. The Natiyah of the Poskim is lahakol, that even by chametz yadua, because the Ran already points out that that's be'emes shitas habavli keneged Yerushalmi. That even chametz yadua, be'emes if you leave before 30 days, you don't have to do anything except for bittul chametz on erev Pesach. You make a bittul and you're fine. Now, the Maimer Amuzgar, that's not our Indian today. We'll get back to that when we learn Taf Mem Hey, the Dine Beer, and Taf Mem Ches is Dine Chametz Shavuot Pesach. The Poskim here it's a little bit unclear. We have 3 Tziyurim in Shulchan Aruch. The case of the Gemara that you go on a boat, or you're go on a shiara, you travel, or nasa beisay oitzer, or you turn your house into a storeroom. In these 2 cases, it's not clear. Even in cases where you're allowed to leave before 30 days and you're Samech on Bittul and you don't have to do any Bedikas, when you come back after Pesach, the Mashmos, the Pashas Mashmos of the Sifim Rishonim, is that when you come back home afterwards, you're allowed to eat that chametz. You're Samech on Bittul, you come and eat the chametz. The Maisa and the Ramah, the din of the Chitim, it's Mavur from the Rashba, that even if you could before 30 days rely on Bittul, and certainly for chametz Yadua, but when you come home, that stuff is Asr. Right? This is very, very major nafkamina. Which mean like Lamashal, if we just want to speak about a case, halacha l'maisa, if a person would have a summer home that he leaves way before Pesach, and he has chametz yadua there, and he comes home, he cleans his whole house, and he forgets to do a mechir's chametz, and he left hundreds of dollars of chametz in that home. So if you would just learn this sugya, Terbe Yosef, the Gemara and Rishonim, it sounds like Seder. Chazal said you be samech on bittul, so I was mevatel my chametz. So then when I go back to my summer home and there's hundreds of thousands of dollars of whiskey, it's all mutter. The mice of the pashtus is that it's aser. and that's based on the Ramah and the Chuvas Harashba, that since you had Chometz Yedua and you knew about it, you could be Samech on Bittul, but that's only that you're not going to be over Bali Rav. But when you come home and you're going back to the Chometz, that Chometz is also Bahana. What's that? The Rashba says it by Oitzer, and the Chayk Yaakov himself already raises the issue. Does that also apply to Yotzei B'Shar in other cases? We saw one Tshuva Nigros Moshe that he says does apply to Shara, and we'll see about that when we get to Chametz Rav Pesach. The Nakuda here is as follows. What's the Nakuda? And this we're going to see in Tafim Hey by Dini Bittel. It's a very problematic bittul. It's ka'afra da'ara, it's offer ka'afra da'ara, and it's not nechshav, and it's hefker. Meanwhile, it's locked up in your house. Yeah, you left your house 6 months ago, but it's under lock and key. All your chametz is there in the whiskey cabinet. So that's the problem with the bittul. We'll see more about it. Tafim Hey, that's by Ber Musker. Okay. The point, but that's not what we want from Taf Lamed Vav right now. So as what's that? Yeah, and what's clear? No one's chaylik on there. No one's chaylik on there. The question is to apply that din of the Chuvas Rashba and the Ramah to all the other cases as well. That we'll see. Pshuta, yes, but fine. Now, the Gemara's Mavur, that we're talking about someone practically who's going on a journey with a shiara, through the midbar, a chves, or on a boat. Well, the Maisa, the din that Toich Lamed, you're chayav to do Bedikas Chometz, because we read, like we said, it's a pashtus, a loy plug. Maybe the timing somewhat do apply, but it's a loy plug. Within 30 days you leave, sorry, you can't be Samech HaBittul, you have to do your beer and Bedika. So Hagam that the Gemara is talking about someone who's going on a shiara on a boat, it doesn't really matter where you're going. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're going to be on a boat for Pesach, if you're going to be on a wagon for Pesach, or you're going to go to a different place, a different home, you're going to visit your relatives, you're going to be in a different house, it doesn't matter. Toich Shloshim, you're still mechuyev to do what to your own house? Beer Bedika. Why? Just like someone who has 2 houses or 20 houses, you have to do Bedika and beer on all of them. As long as it's a makom shemich to the chametz, and you have chametz and toich lamed, you were there, you have to do Bedika beer. So the Gemara speaks about someone who's going on a trip, just because then he's probably not going to come back, or we can talk about a pasha hechatimtza, then he's not going to come back. But it doesn't matter where he's going, be'emes. And even if you're going to a different home, that does not alleviate you of your chiyuv to do Bedika and beer on the house that you were in. It's your house, to climb it, so you have no heter. Where does the chiluk begin? As to where you're going or not going? So that's the Rav Yah. The Torah brings in Sif Gimel a very big chiddush from the Rav Yah, that the whole sugya we're talking about until now is a person who's in his own house, is going on a little bit of a vacation, on a trip, on a holiday, for the holiday, and he's not going to be in his house, and he's coming back to his house. So then we say, Toich Lamed, you're mechuyev to take care of the chametz in your house, and don't be Samech HaBittul. And it doesn't matter where you're going, if you're going to your other house, to your summer house, or to your friend's house, or your cousin's house, or your mother's house, it doesn't make a difference. What happens if in the interim you were living by a goy? Beisoy Shal Akum. Not clear exactly what the Metzias was, whether it was a schirus, whether Yisrael Hayoytze mi Beis Eino Yehudi. It's not clear. L'chayra, there's no Gzeir Sakasa, there's no Tanai. We don't find L'chayra any time a first year that you were renting it from the guy, even if you have a guy that you were staying by for free. L'chayra, this is true. L'chayra, this is She'ela. And we'll get back to this point. L'chayra lo matzinu be'emes, at least not in this simon, any explicit Tanai that Chiyuv Bedika is because you own it, because you're renting it, because you're... So he's living by the goy. So the Rav Yah says, well, Toich Shloshim, we have the Chiyuv Bedikas Chometz. So it's Toich Shloshim. And I'm leaving the guy's house. Now, I'm leaving a guy's house. That means I was renting, let's assume I'm renting it until Rosh Chodesh Nisan, I leave the guy's house. What happens when you leave the guy's house? The guy's coming back in. So it's a goyish house. So what do you leave over? Whatever you leave over, you're never going to see again. You're leaving over your pirurim, or even if you have a little bit of chametz you left, but you're gone, finished, moving on. So are you mechuyev to do bedika and beer over there? So here, the timing certainly don't apply. There's no shem yoichal. So maybe the grass has a tzad, yeah, but there's no shem yoichal. You're leaving, you're finished with the guy's house, you're giving him back the key and you're going, l'chaim l'shol. So there's nothing there you're going to be chas on, there's nothing there you're going to eat, it's gone, finished. So says the Rav Yah, it could be you're still chayav b'dikas chametz. B'dika and beer on the guy's house. So you're leaving on Rosh Chodesh Nisan the night before, Toich Shloshim Yom, you have to do b'dika beer on the guy's house. Now again, we already pointed out that even on your own house, when you leave Toich Shloshim, Kipshutai, as long as you do a bittul, there's no real good reason to do b'dika. Just loy plug. Kipshuta is a loy plug. And since Toich Lamed, you're learning the halacha, so yeah, that's how you have to take care of your chametz. So here, that's even more mutgash. Because here, the chal, no shaykh, it's not going to be your chametz mechal, it's going to be hefker gomer. You know, like we saw a little bit in the previous segment, we're going to see more in the hemshech. Before this Ma'aser Chametz, Taf Mem Hey, we saw that Ramah. Before this Ma'aser Chametz, even on Erev Pesach, if you take your chametz, you throw it into the street, Rosh Hashanah, hefker, it's fine. You might not be Mekayim Mitzvahs Tashbisus, Sheikhus Chometz, but you're not going to have any problem with Bayir. So Hu Adinacha, even though you're leaving this house, there's no shaykhs to the time of Shem Yochel and Bittul. Nafal Pikin says the Rav Yah, you're still chayiv. But the Rav Yah says it's a Tanai. Depends. Even Toich Lamed. By your own house, Toich Lamed makes no difference. By a guy's house, it's Tali. What's it Tali? Says the Rav Yah, it's Tali where you're going. If you leave the guy's house and you go to your own house or to a different house, first in the place came even not to your house, you're going to a different achsanya, different hotel, motel, or your friend, relative. So the Rav Yah says, you'll be Mekayim Mitzvahs Bedikas Beer in that new house. So here, then forget about the guy's house. Then you don't have to do it. Buy your own house. Doesn't make a difference if you're going to a second house or a third house or a fourth house. You have to do Bedika on any house that's your house, like a yid that has two batim. But by a guy, the Rav Yah's mavur, that since the chiyuv by the guy is even more vayt, it's the guy's house already, you're giving it back to the guy, it's his chametz, the chametz is all hefker gomer, you're never going back there. The chiyah gavno, it depends. If you're going to be Mekayim, it's Bedikun be or somewhere else in the second place, then you can forget about the guy's house. But if not, if you're going to be on the shiara, if you're going to be on the boat, or in the midbar, and not going to have any Bedikas Chometz, Arila Arbasar, because you're stuck in the desert on the boat the whole Pesach, then you have to do Bedika on the guy's house. That's the Rav Yah's Chiddush, and that's brought in Siv Gimel, the Halacha, and the Tur. The Torah is cholik. He says it's not mistaber, and that's brought here as a yesh armim. Machlokes apoiskim if lahalacha rechosh v'shita not seems like machatchila yeah maker then not.
But if you sell it, it'll be fine.
Oh, we'll get to mechir. Let's just be madgish. Reb Daniel saying we're not talking about selling to a guy. Now, arguably, it should be no different than selling. What's the difference if I sell to a guy or I just leave, give him back his key? It's his memela. Maybe this is even better than selling. I mean, it's really his now. But we'll get back to the point of selling. It's a good point. This is be'emes, I think, why the Mishnah Berurah brings the whole discussion at the end of the simon, the question of selling different parts of your home or your entire home in order to get rid of the chi of Bedikas Chometz.
What would I be looking for? What would I be beneficial?
Stop. Let's say you're living in this house for 6 months. Rosh Chodesh Nisan moving out. You go around. You find the bagel. You find some pretzels. You find the chometz. Then you take it. You have to destroy it.
It's not mine.
Right now it's yours. Tomorrow it's not going to be yours when you leave the guy's house. Right now it's yours without selling. We're not talking about selling. You're right. Tomorrow it's going back to the guy. It's going to be the guy's tomorrow. You're giving him back the key. It's his. You're finished with this place. You're never coming back. And that's why the timing don't apply. Even bittul you won't need here because it's memela hefker gomer. That's the Torah's taina betzem. But what you're doing is, yes, before you leave, finding your chametz that has been your chametz for the last 6 months and burning it. Now. So this is basically...
I don't carry it on with me until you down more.
No, once you find it, the fires are l'ruach, you can burn it where you are, you can throw it in the garbage. Yeah, before Mechir. We're going to get back to
You
Mechir.
should do Bedika on your base.
We're talking about now guys leaving the guy's house when it's Chodesh Nisan. 30 days, 20 days before.
It's not the guy sells his house and he's going away.
Okay, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to the selling. Yes, that's exactly the point I want to get to. Yeah, we'll see. Chanami.
Even less than problem, though, because
We're going to get to that
also.
1 second. Let's just get clear. This sugya. What is kavanas haraviyah? So the Taz asks what seems to be the obvious question, and that is that the Torah is 100% right because the Rav Yah makes no sense. That's the obvious question. What does it mean that Rav Yah makes no sense? Like everyone's bothered. What's going on? I mean, this is the best in the Torah's kasha. The Taz just simply says like the Torah is like 100% right, and it's just perfect common sense. What shaykhis the guys has? It's ein lecha hefker gadol mizu. It's the same thing as taking all your chametz and throwing it in the trash on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. On Rosh Chodesh Nisan, you throw your chametz in the trash. There's no chashash whatsoever. You throw it into the shusram. No problem. What's going on? It's nothing to do with anything. Says the Taz. Yeah, I'll tell you what the Rav Yah means. He says it sounds like the Rav Yah is trying to say it's a chayv saguf. That when it came Purim, Tesvav Adar, Beis this year, the Chazal said, right now you're in a house, you have a mitzvah, Bedikas Chometz, just like you have a mitzvah to put on tefillin every morning, just like you have a mitzvah to say Kriya Shema, you have a chayv saguf to do Bedikas Chometz. It's Akar Kafta the Gavra. That's the lashon of Chacham Sofer Ad Kedei Kach, the Bir Divrei HaRav Yah, the Tshuva, Kuf Lamed Aleph, I think it is. That's Mamsh chayv saguf. So then you understand a little bit what the Rav Yah is trying to say. Says the Rav Yah, it's within 30 days, you already have the chiyuv, just like, it's like a chiyuv to say Kriya Shema. You have a chiyuv to do this mitzvah. So, you're leaving, you're going on a boat, you're not going to be able to do the mitzvah, you're going to be mavakil the mitzvah. When did we give you the mitzvah? Chazal said, I'll tell you when we gave you the mitzvah. Shloshim Yom Kod Mechag, when everyone started learning Hilchos Pesach, then we gave you a mitzvah to take care of your chametz in this specific way, which is Bedikas Beer. So you have that chiyuv. it's a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah chiyuvis, not kiyumis. So memela, it doesn't help that you're leaving the guy's house. It's not going to be just afal pikin. That chometz right now, before you leave the guy's house, whose is it? It's yours. Don't patter yourself by being mafker it. Take it and burn it. Do bedika and beer. But says the Ravya, since we're talking about a kakaf gavra, it's only your chiv. So, well, let's tell you. Let's see where you're headed from Rosh Chodesh Nisan. If you're going to a different house, so you'll be yotzis on your chayvis haguf over there. So you'll have chometz for breakfast and lunch and dinner for a few days, and then you'll do bedika and beer in your second house. So then we don't have to worry about the guy, because it's not really any chiv on beiser shal guy, because in the hefker gadol mizu, it's the guy's house. Whatever, nothing to do with that chometz, nothing to do with that house. I'm not allowed back in there. It's not mine. It's totally his. So mela, that's the Rav Yos chilek.
Can I have shlichus?
What's that?
Do you have shlichus in Shlichus?
For the guy to do shlichus?
Yeah.
Shlichus where? What do you ask?
Appoints us to do it on the house.
In the guy's house?
Yeah. Just asking, I'm in a rush. Can you do a pedicure for me?
Of course. Shulchan kamoisa. Yeah, it's not
like the-
mitzvah's haguf. It's not. Yeah.
It's just
It's
that's
still
my
a
place.
mamish. But I mean, still
a
mamish.
place.
Mitzvah chiyuv.
Yeah, but it's still a place.
Now,
I can't.
so that's like l'chor the tzad. That's what the Taz says, and that's what it a little bit sounds like. I have to admit, from the lashon of the Mechaber. The Mechaber is madgish be'emes even more than the Rav Yalein in the Torah. The Mechaber says the Rav Yal speaks out that if you're going to go there, you'll be mekayim mitzvah sham, and if not, you have to be mekayim mitzvah here. So it's like a kakaf to the garden, you have a chiv. So the Taz says ultimately that's a very big chiddush. Like, why would we ever assume that that's the mitzvah of Bedikas chometz? There's no such thing. We lomatzinu. So this Rav Yal says the Taz. I get it. Maybe he wouldn't have been chaylik on the Rav Yal, but already they're showing him are chaylik on the Rav Yal. The Rav Yal made up a chiddush. Kakaf to gavra. Says the Taz. It's not mistaver at all. Vada the pashas is like the tour. There's no such chi of gavra. It's just totally. If you have a house, you have nish nish. So you Rav Yar masking that really you don't have a house here because you're leaving Rosh Chodesh Nisan. You're leaving way before Pesach, so you don't have a house. You're not going to have a house. You have no shaykhs to this house. So you're masking. You just think it's some kind of chi of gavra. Says the Taz. Avad and halacha should follow the tour that's saying the pashtus. But there's no makar. We have no raya makar that there'd be such a chi. Now, because the Taz understands that this is what's going on here, that the Rav Yah made up this wild mechudesh thing, chayvis gavra, and then the Torah just says mehechatesi, we pass in the Torah. So there's a little the Taz and many achronim get a little bit stuck in the lashonis and Shulchan Aruch, because when Shulchan Aruch brings the lashon of the kula of the Torah, the yesharmim she'ein etzarich. This guy, this yid who's leaving the guy's house, yeah, you don't have to do bedika. Forget it. We're makel. The Ramah adds the yesharmim she'ein etzarich kishenichnas boy ein Yehudi. When I leave, the guy comes in. Since the guy's coming in, that's why I'm potter. So the Taz, the Chaykankev, the Goin, they say, who cares if the guy's coming in or not to live there? Let's say the guy's a big real estate guy. He has a lot of apartments. You just give him back his key. He doesn't go in there. Who cares if he goes in or not? Who cares if he's living there? It doesn't make a difference. So the Goin and the Taz, the Chayr will have to say, but the Goin and the Chaykankev say Lahedya. It's how the Mishnah Berurah like it Mekardin. It makes no difference if the guy's really coming in or not, because it's the same. That if we understand the time of the Torah is just there's no chavis gavra, in the hefker gadol mizu, I have no shaykhis to the chametz, I have no v'chule, I have no shaykhis to anything. So then Torah makes absolutely no difference. V'kach mavur bit kam achronim. V'yesh b'zeh doichak, because the Ramah Taka says v'yesh ram shein tzarich kish nechnas way, and Yehudi. Mishnah Berurah emes lahalacha, he's not sure. He thinks maybe should be machmer only if nichnas, not nichnas. So what's the inyan of nichnas? So l'maisa zoy. The Magen Avram very clearly says that this is mamish dafka. That it's only benichnas by a guy. Ad kidei kach, if you look carefully in the Magen Avram a little bit at the beginning of the Sif Tezayin, the Magen Avram goes so far as to say that this whole shaila, that the Rav Yah is machmer and the Torah is mekel, it's all only if the guy comes to move in over there. But if you leave a house that you were living by a guy, and you leave it empty, and no one moves in there, the mashmos of the Magen Avram at the beginning of the Sif and the end of the Sif is that l'kul yam you're chayiv over there. You cannot escape the chiyuv until the guy moves in. And al zeh hikshu hatat l'chor feed the mahalcha the taz it's chayvus haguf, and that's exactly what the Chayk Yaakov is going to say. What are you talking about? What is the difference? Yeah, guy nishka it's in the hefker gadol mizu. You're still leaving a house that you have no shaykhs to. So who cares if the guy goes in there or not? That's the question on the Magen Avram. So azoi l'chor it's mavur in this Magen Avram like this, that the emes the Rav Yah never meant to say this new chiddush karkafta de gavra. It's a mitzvah chiyuvis of Bedikas Chometz. You have to make sure you have a house. Someone would be shloshim yom kol mechag. It would be a mitzvah for him to get a house, so that he would have a hechatimtza to do Bedikas Chometz. En kazeh davar. Bedikas Chometz, like the Taz says, the Pashtus, if you have a house, you have the chiyuv. If you don't, not. Meaning, it's not chayvas gavra, not a chiyuv haguf, but rather it's chayvas habayis kipshutai. And the Magen Avraham is saying that the Ravya knew that. But Narvas, when we say chayvas habayis, so it sounds like we're saying chayvas habayis, like the house you own. It's totally in bailus. And there is rate about that. We'll see more in the Hemshech. Especially if Bedikas has something to do with Bal Yirah, so maybe you think it has something to do with owning the house. But as we have many makars already, and we'll see many more, the Maisa, we're certainly chosh for Shitas Taisus, that you could be that is a chashash Shem Yoichal. So certainly you don't need to be the bailam on a house for Shem Yoichal, and even for Bal Yirah. So the Rav mentioned, and we'll see other makars. Even for Bal Yirah, lav dafka does have to be your house. Could be your chometz in someone else's house. Could be other ways to be over Bal Yirah. Al kol panim, it sounds like the Magen Avraham is learning the Ravya that it's chayvas bayis. The chayv of who's dar b'bayis. Chayvas hadar, let's call it. The emphasis, that's the Gemara. The Gemara declares if Bedikas Chometz by Seicher Master, we'll see in the next Sugya Tav Lam Zayin. And Avdalid, the Gemara declares if chayvas Bedikas Chometz is like mezuzah, which is chayvas hadar, or is not like mezuzah, which is chayvas hadar. And Kipshuta the Maskana is that it's like chayvas hadar, not mamish like mezuzah. We'll see in Tav Lam Zayin. But if we assume it's chayvas hadar, then it could be the Ravya is just saying a very simple thing. That Toich Lamed Yoim, again, Bittul Chometz is daraisa. After Bittul, if you're doing Bittul, Bedika Bir, that's only Chiyav Midarabanan, Shema Yoichal, Bal Yirah. That Chiyav is on who? So if we say that Chiyav is on the Chayvas Hadar, it means from 30 days before Pesach, Chazal come and say, whoever is the Jewish person occupying this house, he's the dar in this house, so it's mutal on him to do Bedika Bir in this house. He's the dar in this house. So Memela, by a Yid leaving his own house, he says, I'm leaving, Toich Lamed, I'm not coming back to my house till after Pesach. Too bad. You're the dar in that house. You left, so you're still the dar. You were the last dar in that house. You didn't sell your house to anyone. No one else is moving in. So your house, you have to do Bedika, even Toich Lamed, even though you're not coming back, as long as you're Toich Lamed. Says the Ravya, who had been by a guy.
What's the difference in selling your house and giving it back to the Baal?
What do you mean? No difference. I don't know.
So you're not chayav to leave, even besides just like selling it. Because I gave it back to the Baal Bais. I have no.
1 second. Before we get to, you're saying by mechira, if we sell.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, we're going to get to mechira. I'm just saying, so very nice.
And even if you sell it, I was not there. You're right. I bought it.
1 second. We're going to get to mechira. Let me just say this far. Zokt the Ravya. When you are in the guy's house, so when it comes Purim, from Purim till let's say Rosh Chodesh Nisan, you're the dar. You are the occupant of this house. Hazal put on you a Chiyav Bedikas Chometz. Chayvas hadar. Zokt the Ravya. If you leave, you're still the dar of that house. Just like when you leave your own house, you're still the dar. You still have the shame chayvas hadar because you were the last occupant in that house, and the chalois chiyav already comes from 30 days before. From 30 days before, whoever is the occupant of this house is chayav b'dikas chometz. You're the tenant. You're a chayav. I left. Says the Ravya, that's not mafkir. Your shame dar. You're the last occupant of that house. That house already had a chiyav maschal. Just like the Ravya. I mean, that's the simon we're in. He's coming from the din of a yid who leaves his own house. I'm not going to be in my house anymore until after Pesach. Too bad. You're the chayvus hadar goes on you. It's your house. So here also, it's your house. Says the Magen Avram, B'das Ravya. 1 second, we're going to get to the Torah. Says the Magen Avram, the way the Magen Avram learns this whole sif is that if a guy doesn't move in and become the next dar, meaning doesn't return to being the dar, whether it's his, he's a real estate guy and he owns it or he lives there, whatever it is. If a guy doesn't move in to live there, then you retain the shame dar because there's no one else to be mafkia the shame dar from you. It's only once a guy moves in, so then we say, wait a second. So I was here Rosh Chodesh Nisan, but if I'm Beis Nisan, a guy lives here, so how can you, I'm not the dar from Lufnei Pesach. So the diurin of the guy could be mafkia the diurin of the yid. That's all the Ravya is saying. So when a guy moves in, I'm out. But says the Ravya, this is the chumrah and the chiddush of the Ravya. Says the Ravya, that's only if the yid finds himself another makom diurin. Because, Dr. Ravya, by moving into house B, you're mafkir yourself from house A. So the Mela, you need two things according to Magen Avraham. That's what it says in Magen Avraham. You need two things. You need the guy to move in, and according to the Ravya, you also have to go and move into house B. By doing these two things, then you're taka menatik, you're cut yourself off from house number one, and you're not called the dar there. You're have no chayvus adar. But if you're going to be on a boat, says the Ravya, so hagam that you left, and a guy moved in, the diurin of a guy is not enough to be mafkia, the diurin of the yid. Because again, the mitzvah's bedika was chal on yid, not on guy. So since you were the last yid to live in that house, the Ravya's mechadish, you have a chiyuv bedika. Al zeh zok the tour, no. Zok the tour, it doesn't matter where you're going, it doesn't matter if you're going on a boat or you're going to a new house. As long as the guy moves in there, the diurin of the guy is mafkia, the diurin of the yid. So as long as the guy moves in sometime, and he's able to move in sometime before Pesach, so as long as you go on your way, the guy moved in, that's mafkia, you're diurin.
That's what it means after, it's not yours.
It's avad hefker, but right, that's what I'm saying. The pshat in hefker is pshat, it's hefker, it's back to his house, so he's the dar. So that diurin is mafkia, your diurin. Memela, you have no chiyuv b'dika bir. Because b'dika bir is chayvus hadar.
And the fact that you had to go to a new house to be mafkir, your original one.
That's the chumrah of the Ravya. What?
That still shows us our chakaf.
So we'll get to the nafkaminas, but I'm saying no, it's not a chayvus aguf, but if in that I'm doing something wrong.
The guy has 2 apartments, he's a full chiyuv. Stam owns a real estate, he has 2 apartments. He's a chiyuv on both. So the fact that we're saying that you're going to go to the second one, you
So
need that
obviously
chiyuv
we're
first.
all masking that eino doime a house of a goy to a house of a yid. All the place can make that chilek. So you're right. There is a greyasa in the fact that I'm leaving a guy's house and going back to a guy, that it's his house. So that greyasa is chal, Dr. Ravya, like this, that if I move into another house and I gave that house totally back to the guy, that's enough to be mafkia, my shame during in that house.
But the fact
So
that you're the
that's
one,
it.
he needs you to go into house B.
Without that, the Ravya
Sounds
holds.
like you're stuck with the chakaf to the gavra.
So what I'm saying is, I don't think it's a chagatz or gavra, rather it's a chayvus hadar. You're still the dar of that house. A guy moved in,
Even though he's
so this is the chiddush of Ravya, which the Torah is takachaylik on. Says the Ravya, the diurin of a guy is not enough to mafkia chayvus bir bedikas chometz. Bir bedikas chometz talks to yid, not the guy. I was a guy living here. You were the last yid to live here.
I'm just saying, a person.
Let me speak out the nafkamina. You know the
Even though
difference.
he left now,
The fact that
she's
there's
never
no
come
two
back.
houses
Here's the
shows
nafkamina. Fraktach Yanke, a big kasha on Sivkim Mobayos. He says, there's a kakafta de Gavra, and we're saying that the Ravya says, if you're on the boat, then you have kakafta de Gavra, you have to do bedika in the guy's house. Fraktach Yanke, we know from Tafla Gimel, there's a chiyuv bedikas chometz in your pockets. And the Pashta says, like the Pri Chadash says over there, it's a chiyuv gomer. We saw all the chilukim and all the Torah already, but the Pashup Pshat is you have a chiyuv bedika. The bracha, charim shtakin, la'ar haner, however you want to do it. Yeah, without all the Torah of the Eishal Avram b'chulim. So fraktach Yaakov, what's going on over here? What's the problem? On the boat, you just check your pockets, or larbazi, you check your pockets and you're fine. So, lefi the taz, that's a kasha, and it needs a teretz. The Yaakov makes up a new Joshua, batechem, the whole chiyuv bir and b'dika is only in the house, not in metaltlin. That's only lefi the taz. What I'm saying is like this: lefi the Magen Avram. Let's say you're mamish chiyuv gomer in your pockets with a bracha, and you're going to be yotzis on your kakafta de grava, mamish. L'mahajim and a mahajim. It doesn't help. Because you don't have what to be mafkia your diurin in bias number 1. Because when I live in bias number 2, that means that I'm no longer living in bias number 1. But if I'm on a boat checking my pockets, it's a great kiyum of mitzvahs b'dikas chametz. But the Chayk Yaakov has no kasha l'fi the Magen Avram. Because of course you're being mekayim mitzvahs b'dikas chametz in your pockets. What does that have to do with anything? That's not the noisy over here. We're not talking about a kakafta de gavra. Whether you have a kakafta de gavra or not with your pockets, but even if you do have a chiyuv to check your pockets, that's because you have pockets, you have to check them. What does that have to do with the fact that if hadar me lam v'don koyd machag v'bayis, you're the dar of that bayis. So what I'm saying is, that l'fi the Magen Avram, this kasha wouldn't start. And you still blind with a chayvus hadar, even though you're being yotzis with your pockets. That's aleph.
Chiddush is even though he's also he's being he's leaving for good.
That's what I'm saying. That akira, that's the shayla. So the Ravya held, that's how the Magen Avram is learning. That akira, stam leaving a house is not enough. We see when you leave your house. So you're saying because I'm coming back after Pesach? The Ravya understood. That's not enough. That's not the vard is not that you're coming back. The vard is that you were living here Toich Lamed. So leaving doesn't do anything. If you leave and someone else moves in, that's the machlokes. If a guy moves in. Now, Nachanaf Kimino. All the poskim are medayik that the whole noisy of the Ravya is when you're leaving a guy's house. As opposed to the Arasugi, which is talking about leaving your own house. What about leaving a different Yid's house? So Reuven is staying by Shimon. Toich Lamed, Reuven leaves Shimon's house. Does he have to do Bedika? All the places say no. Not only that, but if the Yid is living by the guy, and he leaves the guy's house, but another Yid is moving in, he's also potter. In these two cases, whether when you leave a Yid's house and the house goes back to the Yid,
and he's staying there. Shimon is staying there.
So in the first case, where you're leaving Yid's house, even if he's not staying there, it's his house. In the second case, yeah, there was one Yid renting the guy's house, he leaves, the other Yid's coming in, so you're putter.
You're not going to another house, not even kind of mitzvah. Said, even if you are Mekayim the mitzvah of that piece of your pockets, but you did coin the kind of mitzvah that was 502 madar on the house before. So even if you're Mekayim the mitzvah of that piece by doing your pockets, the shit also it's not enough. Because you have to be Mekayim the mitzvah before.
Yeah, that's my point.
But the Shulchan Aruch said you have to be Mekayim the mitzvah of that piece. Once if you're Mekayim with your pockets, so it's enough. You don't need to go back and do two.
Okay, so you're asking the Lashon Mechaber. So
Yeah.
I'm asking the Lashon Mechaber sounds a little bit like the Taz. The noise is a chayvas gaver.
He's been called that Shulchan Aruch?
No, B'chlal not. And what I'm saying is, I don't think that the Lashon Shulchan Aruch is conclusive at all. The Shulchan Aruch is just speaking of the Metzias. The Metzias is, if you go to that house, but I'm saying the Lumdas, the Magen Avraham is learning, the Lumdas Shulchan Aruch, the Yesod Shulchan Aruch is saying, is that when you go to that house, it's mafkia your shame dar from this house. Mashenk, if you go on a boat, it's not mafkia your shame during from this house. So the Choy Yaakov is bothered by that question. Yes, Lefi the Choy Yaakov, because he understands Lefi Darker Shal Taz. It's a question of Chayvus Gavra. So as long as I take care of my Chayvus Gavra, what's chaser? What I'm saying is, if you look like the Magen Avraham, then this kasha doesn't start because Shulchan Aruch is not saying anything about Chayvus Gavra. There's no Chayvus Gavra. It's all Chayvus Abayis. But in order to be Oikir your Durin for Bayis A, you have to go to Bayis B.
You're saying the Beis Yosef and the Magen Avraham could be working together?
Yep. Now, the Big Day Yesha has a kasha. I don't understand this is the Big Day Yesha. All the Achrayim and Magen Avraham Tavs have a diak. That if Reuven's living in the guy's house, Toich Lamed, and Reuven leaves, so he's chayiv Bedika, Karkafta de Gavra. But if Shimon moves in the next day, then it's okay. So the Big Day Yesha, or if Reuven leaves Shimon's house in Gansin. Reuven's staying by Shimon's house, and Reuven leaves, and he's on a boat the whole Pesach. He's potter in Gansin. In fact, the Big Day Yesha, what happened to Chayvus Gavra? When you leave the Yid's house, or you leave the guy's house, another Yid comes in, then it's Taka Meduik, the Rav Yoah Taka Pati you there. But if the whole Yisayir of the Rav Yoah Rabbeinu Shalom is that you have a Chayvus Gavra, so then what does it help that another Yid's coming in? And the Bach Taka says no, he says he doesn't care if another Yid's coming in. He says, who adin? You do a Bedika Toich Lamed. Another Yid comes in, he should also do Bedika. The third Yid comes in, he should also do Bedika. It's Chayvus Gavra. All the places can say Deloy Kabach. We don't pass in the Bach. We're not Garish the Bach. And when you leave the house, another Yid comes in, it's okay. So the Big Yesha doesn't know the Pshat. So Shartzi quotes it in Sikon Chavtes. He says, the Big Yesha says that it must be Shlichus. That you had a Chayvus Gavra, Toich Lamed by the guy. So on your way out, Shimon's coming in. You say, Shimon, by the way, I'm leaving. I have a big problem now. I'm going to be on a boat the whole Pesach. So you mind, when you do Bedikas Chometz, do it for me also. So it's Shlichus, and then that's how I'm Yotzes, I'm a Chayvus Gavra. So that's a pellet. What shaykhs? I'm making a shliach for a house that I have no shaykhs to, that I don't own, that I don't live in, that I don't, everything I owned or had any shaykhs to is total hefker gomer. So he's my shliach. Ubifrat, the Big Yesha is even talking about when Reuven leaves Shimon's house. Reuven leaves Shimon's house. Shimon comes back to his own house. Everything in Shimon's house belongs to Shimon. It's Shimon's house. So Reuven's leaving. He says, by the way, I have a problem. It's Toich Lamed. I'm going to be on a boat. When you do Bedikas Chometz with your own house, on your own stuff, can you do also my shlichus? Like I'm making you my shliach. It sounds like a joke. So again, Lefi the Magen Avraham, it's not shver. Lefi the Magen Avraham, the pshat
You're
is.
saying you can't make a shliach at all. You're using the whole.
It just
thing
sounds
as
like a
shliach.
joke. First of all,
Exactly.
there's no
It's
zeichem to make
It's
a
his,
shliach.
it's his comments.
Right. So again, assuming like the Torah says that the Metzias is true, certainly when you leave, you're mafkir chametz. So Elamai, that's not enough since the night before you left. So Enochanami, that's the mark of the Big Day Yesha. Meaning, about your mafkir chametz, I don't think anyone's no one argues that Metzias. You read mafkir chametz, you have no shayach, you're never coming back ever again for the rest of your life. Narvas, since it was already your chametz, I'm just saying, since the Yid's coming in and the Yid's koin everything and the Yid's doing the mitzvah to say that he's your shliach, it's a shlichol dever deviyas. Now, I'm just saying that Lefi the Magen Avraham, we don't need the chiddush Big Day Yesha. You know what happens Lefi the Magen Avraham? Toich Lamed, there's a problem. You're the dar. But if another Yid comes in, then he's the dar. Then the Torah tells him, the Chazal tell him to do the Bedika. And you're free. You're off the hook this year. No Bedika, no beer. I karkaf to Gavra. Feed Magen Avraham, there is no karkaf to Gavra. There is no Chayvus Gavra Bedikas Chometz. In Kasadavar. It's all about Chayvus Hadar. And all the Rav Yoel was saying was that when you leave the house and no one else moves into the guy's house, or even if someone does move into the guy's house, you don't move into a new house, all the Hechatimtzas is just a way to say, you, Reuven, still are nechshav, the person who is, you're the closest thing we have to the door of that house. You got to do the Bedika before you leave. But if we have someone better, like another Yid who's moving in, so he's the dar. Who's the dar? Me who left on Rosh Chodesh Nisan, or he who's moving in on Beis Nisan? Obviously him. So he takes it. Where's my kiyum mitzvahs Bedika? Nowhere. Just like the homeless guy doesn't have a chiyuv, and he doesn't have a kiyum of mitzvah bir bedika, and he doesn't have a chiyuv and mechir no inyan to go buy a house to be mekayim. You're the same person.
Then there is.
I toich lamed was chalami, it wasn't chalami. There's no kafta gam, not like a taz. Up to Magen Ram is all chavis adar, chavis abayis, and memela toich lamed when you leave, there's no problem.
And the people that
If you taz is a kasha, and you have to come on to the Bedikas teretz, which is that in chanami it's b'ter shlichus, and that's our yoytzayin, it's takashver. And just like with the taz, we have a big problem. I could be yoytzayin by chavis gavra by checking my pockets. We have to say some other shtickle Torah that no, pockets not the ikar chavis bedika.
Is Magen agree that you have to check your pockets?
I would assume so, but that won't help anything. Let's assume. I'm saying that's a big shiloh. Let's assume like the Bichadosh, Magen Ram agrees you have mamish chiyuv gomer to check your pockets. But that doesn't change your status. It's chavis adar. It doesn't take off the chiyuv that in the house. The last person to live in this house, Teich Lamed Yom Pesach, has to do Bedikas Chometz. Okay. Achshav. Now let's talk about mechir. So when many people are leaving their houses, Teich Lamed Yom Pesach, and no one wants to do Bedikas Chometz. So that's the whole point. You go to America, parents, you have to make Pesach. If you have to clean your whole house before you go, it's like, what's the point? So what do we do? So that's one thing. People are leaving certainly Teich Lamed, and not before Shchodesh Nisan this koil, and in Mela it's Teich Lamed. So before you go to America for Pesach, you have to be your bedika on your house. You're gonna do bittul, you have to be your bedika. So what's the kunz? No, I'll sell my whole house. Sell it to the guy, write a shtar hashah, and the whole thing's being sold to a guy. Or the other mahal, someone who's home for Pesach. So Bismanenu, that we spoke already about Riches, there's like a lot of different places where it's very difficult to do bedika. In the kitchen you have no choice, so you clean it out. But children's toys, other places, or your machsan, meklat, different places you don't want to start with the bedika. So you close that place up, put a little sticker on it, machur lagoy, chometz, whatever, and then in the shtar hashah to the guy, you sell that place to the guy, and that should pat to you from Bedikas Chometz. So that's for the person who's staying at home and he wants to sell different arunot or different rooms in his house, or his miklat, machsan, and or someone who's leaving and wants to sell his entire house. So, and this is the discussion that the Mishnah Berurah brings at the end of Taf Lamed Vav. He's talking about stam. It seems like Amal, the Minigwal, like they had a room, and in that room they put all the chametz, even chametz gomer, the yain saraf, the shecher, that they were selling to the guy. So the Mishnah Berurah stam raises the issue that arla arba asar, it's not yet sold. So do you have to do a bedika? So how exactly would you do a bedika on the chametz that you're planning to sell the next day? Of course, you would just find the chametz and then do what with it? You could do like not do it and put it back. I'm not sure. So that's tzarachin. But lamaisa, the Mishnah Berurah says the halach is you don't have to do bedika as long as it's being sold. It's oimed to be sold to the guy that room. You don't have to do bedikas chametz. So l'chayra, if we make a cheshbon, feed the Magen Avram. I think that's what some of you were being ma'ir. So what does it help to feed the Magen Avram to sell the room to a guy? Is the guy being nichnas? I mean, that's the problem with our mechir. The whole thing's haram. We'll see. That's the big issue with mechir. So I don't want to do a bedika on this room, on my meklad, on my machsan, on my thing. So I sell it to a guy. So let's say you sell it to a guy, but Teich Lamed you live there, right? So it's chal and yuchli bedika. The guy's not being nichnas to Teich. So what does it help? Or if you're leaving for the entire Pesach, but you're leaving on Zayin Nisan, you're leaving on Chodesh Nisan, it's Teich Lamed. So I sell my whole house. So that's like what? It's like, so let's call your house Beis Shel Guy. So you're leaving Beis Shel Guy. Teich Lamed. So you have a problem if you're Magen Avram.
You're also
You gotta
selling
do
the
that.
chametz.
What?
In our case, you're also
Oh,
selling the
very
chametz.
good, very good. Two good hours. You also sell the chametz, you have a new house. Let's assume for a minute that where you're going, to your parents or to your in-laws, you don't have a chiyuv b'dikas chametz there. Or you do, as we'll see. Let's assume for a minute you wouldn't have a chiyuv there. So if you wouldn't have a chiyuv there, then your din would be like, sure, you're going to be a shtickle no man's land. You're not going to a place b'dika. The fact that you have to check your suitcase in your pockets doesn't help. So then it's basically, so what does it help? It's based on guy. The guy's not being nichnas l'odar b'seicha, so you're already the dar. Meaning, before we talk about being mafkiyah your chiyuv, being mevatel your mitzvah, let's talk about if you're mechuyev anyway. It doesn't help. When you leave the guy's house, chutz from the issue that the Rav Yah has, that the shoyesh of the problem is that you're being mafkiyah your mitzvah, but it doesn't help. You're mechuyev to go do b'dik on the guy's house. So very nice, you sold your shtar, your house is becoming beis shel guy. But what does it help? You're still mechuyev to check that house. You're still mechuyev. It doesn't help. It doesn't do anything for you, Magen Avram. So first of all, Mishnah Berurah at least quite clear. We don't pass the Magen Avram. We pass in that the heter, that if you're going to a new place, is mafkir your chiyah from Beis Shal Guy, is even if the guy does not move in. That's what Mishnah brings at the beginning of the Sif from the Al-Yirah. So that's the first one. And this is the Paiskim are B'chal Noite to pass like the tour, who's chaylik on the whole Raviyah. At any time you leave Beis Shal Guy, Toich Lamed, even if you're going to be stuck in no man's land, you're still pater. Not like the Magen of Ram Savana. Mishnah Brew is a little bit misupik that if you're going to be in mamish in no man's land, then maybe you have to taka. Then it's only pater if the guy moves in, which maybe would be our case, right? Meaning you're leaving your house in Gansin, you're leaving your entire. In the case where you're leaving your entire house, so the Mishnah Brew says you could be makel if you're going to no man's land, but it says Mishnah Brew thinks you should only be makel if a guy moves in. No guy is moving in to this mechir's Chometz. It's all on road.
Well, maybe it speaks itself.
The what?
It's a circle.
Who's the second?
The Micing is the door.
Who?
Good.
I'm saying, L'chayr T'loy Gar B'Siv Gimel, when I leave, it's the guy's house mamish. The guy's house mamish doesn't help. If he doesn't move in, says Magen Avraham, so Kolshkein if he stop, I make a haram. Well, let's say, forget about the haram, I made a schiyers, it's his now. I sell it to him in Chutz La'aretz, or I rent it to him in Eretz Yisrael, Shmei Lo Sichanim, but he's not moving in, he's not the door. Legally, he owns it, but so what, says the Magen Avraham, doesn't help you. So, like Shemi pointed out, the big nafkamin over here is that when we make a mechira, we don't just sell the room, we don't just sell the place, we actually sell any chametz yadua, for people who sell chametz yadua, but even chametz any yadua. Like the shtar, harsha, and mechira sells any speck of chametz that might be there, you're actually selling it to the guy. So l'chayra, what's an nafkamina? Hare, when you leave the guy's house and you leave chametz, like the Torah Tide is ein l'cha hefker gadol mizu. So what's the difference if I'm mafker it and it's total, I have no shayach to it, or I sell it to the guy, my shno. But it's shno v'shno. The Mishnah Brewer brings from the Binyan Olam that when you sell chametz to a guy, it's a kima mitzvah tashpisu. That's actually beer chametz. The Binyan Olam quoted in the Mishnah Brewer at the end of the Simon. The Dai to the Einzrich Bedikas. The Bazeh Atzma Shemoicha L'Machar L'Akam Mekayim Tashpisu Beer. That's actually the case. So that's a shayla. That's a shayla in Yishoyin. What the Ma'am Mekayim is over here. But the point is that if you have chametz when you're leaving the guy's house, in the case of the Raviyah, so you say, okay, it's hefker. We say, no, that's exactly what Chazal say. Hefker is bittul. Don't do bittul. Chayvis hadar. Chayvis hadar means not to rely on bittul, which is b'teres hefker, not b'teres hefker. Hefker is certainly a form of bittul. Don't rely on the hefker. Don't rely on bittul. Do something more than that. Do bedika, do beer, find it, physically destroy it, get rid of it. So that's the mechayev that doesn't allow you to be soymech on hefker. So it doesn't help Zok the Raviyah that ein l'cha hefker gadol mizu. But if you actually sell the chametz and you're giving it, he's buying it from you, and that's a kima of tashbisu. So what are you mechayiv to do? According to the Raviyah, bedika or beer. But this is beer. It's as if Kaviyachal you went around and burnt every piece of chametz in the house. I didn't burn it. I sold it to the guy. But if you hold, that's what the Binyan says, that it's a kima of tashbisu. So that would be the chayra better. So chutz from the fact that the Magen Avraham is l'chayra not mamish la'alacha. But even in the case where you're leaving your house entirely and you're going abroad, in which case the Mishnah Berurah says yes, you should only be mekel if a guy is nichnas l'soichai. And the Mishnah Berurah is not discussing selling your own house. He's only talking about selling one room. So, mashenkin, in the case where you're selling your entire house and you're going to no man's land, that's l'chayra mamish dumya to the case of leaving a place to shal guy. V'alzeh, the Magen Avraham, the Mishnah Berurah is machmer, at least for that prat. You should only be making if the guy is nichnas l'soichai. So l'chayra, what makes it better is the fact that you're actually making a mechira of the house and all its contents and all the chametz that might potentially be there. And al yidei kach, you could be makel even lefi the Mishnah Berurah's hachra that you have to be machmer for the Raviyah b'midas ma, meaning you should only be makel if a guy is nichnas l'soichai. Here, even though a guy is not nichnas l'soichai, since you're selling also the chametz alain, that is the kiyum of the beer. What do you have to do when you leave a guy's house? You have to do beer. This is beer. Selling it to him is beer.
Why do you have to sell the house to club? Just to sell the house.
That's a different question. That's a different question. You might, right. Let's say in your house, if it's your house, again, if it's chayvus hadar and chayvus habayis, so if it's your house with someone else's chametz, so let's say in my house, where I am for Pesach, there's goyish chametz. I'd have a problem. I'd probably be mechuyev bedika, even though it's not my chametz, it's not bal yirah, but shema yocha. So here also l'chayr that loy plug would still apply as long as it's your house.
What? You sold all the chametz layers.
Yeah, maybe Shem Yochel, maybe right, Yignov, right, even though it's not yours. I think that Chash
Yeah,
doesn't
with
apply.
fish, is that it?
Yeah.
I think
It's really right to find a petal under a slave.
We'll see, Lagabe Kabbalah Sachrais, not now. Now, this whole issue that we're raising, which might actually be questionable, to sell your whole house. And again, for this issue, it doesn't help to leave one room. So some poskim say that when you're leaving, you shouldn't be mafkir your chiyuv, you're being mafkir your chiyuv, so you should leave one room. So you can sell the whole house before you leave on
Holy
site.
Bedikas?
What?
You hold that Chavis Gavra? You're still in the
Yeah, that's what the poskim are saying, Kaviyachal, that's Bedikas, I'm saying for that. If you sell the whole house, but you leave one room, so you're going to kind your chavis haguf. What I'm saying is the issue that we're raising is that Lafila Magen Avram, there's a worse issue. The whole house that you sold to the guy, if he's not nechel seicher, that place is not pater. If it's not chavis gavra, it comes out of chumrah bemes. So we have a more serious problem than being mafkir your chiyuvim and that you're like bavarning mitzvahs to be either rista, you're going to be in trouble. We're talking about a problem that you have to go do bedika. I sold it too bad, says the Magen Avram. You have to do bedika anyway. You're leaving the guy's house tomorrow, so you sold your whole house. You have to do bedika anyway. So there's a more Lafila Magen Avram. There's a bigger problem, but l'chayr the eitzah is like we're saying that you're selling everything and the contents. Now, this is aside from the fact that l'chayr this whole discussion is all about hanacha. That you're going to be in no man's land, what we call it. You're going to be kavyacha on the shiyah. Most people are not going to be on a boat and not going to be in a midbar for Pesach. You're going to be in your relative's home, in your parents, your in-laws, you're going to be in their home. So if we assume that that's a place where you have no chiyuv, then we have this whole issue. It's as if you're going to be on the boat, so you have no chiyuv there. But is that type of true? That when you go to that house, you have no chiyuv? L'chayr not. L'chayr, the chayvus hadar that we're talking about is hagufa. We're saying the Chavis Hadar is not totally in the Bailos. Kach mashma from this etzim sif. You're by the guy's house. Okay. By the guy's, in the case of the guy's house, right now it is yours. But the emphasis even by the guy's house that you're living in doesn't say you own it, doesn't say that you have a schirus. You're in the guy's house now, so you have a chiv. Even though you're leaving. Even though you're leaving, you have no shaykhs in 2 minutes. So someone who's moving in to their parents' in-laws' house for the entire Pesach, why would they not have a Chavis Hadar? Where do we find anywhere that's telling bias? And the emes is that the Mishnah Berurah speaks about the guy who leaves the guy's house and he goes to a different house, and he speaks out lahedin sifkan chavches that even if that next house is not your house, but you're going to be by another balabayas, oy balabayas shadar etzloi, he could do the bedika also. So you could say, okay, maybe it's only if you're renting a place by the balabayas, but that's not the mashmos, not of the Mishnah Berurah. Mishnah Berurah is coming from a few places that speak this out, like Yankiv and other places, that if where you're going, you're not the balabas. There's a different balabas there. So you'll be Yotzei Bedikas over there, says the Mishnah Berurah. Mishnah Berurah says the emphasis maybe you won't even be Yotzei Bedikas. The Baal Bayis will do it, and he'll be your Shliach. He'll be Yotzei time. So it sounds like even if you're going to a place where you become one of the Bnei Habayis, that is sufficient to have the Chavis Hadar, and that is sufficient to be Chayiv Bedikas Chometz.
So Babayis can do it, and he'll just be...
Yeah, and you could be Yotzei with the bracha and go do part of the house and be Shlichos. Yeah, technically, right, exactly. That's what Mishnah Berurah says. The person say, and even if you want to be Isaac a little bit more, so people come when they go. So some of the Svarim say that you go to your parents' in-laws, you should make a kinyan on the room, and that way you have a schirus, and that way you're chayiv, and then you should be Yotzei with the bracha and do a bedika on that room. It's not necessary, and stam the whole thing's a little bit of a joke.
You're saying in this case you would
After like 5 years of being married, I told my shara I own his whole house because every year I took a different room. I never gave it back after Pesach.
But if that's the case, you would say that the shara doesn't want to do it, and you want to do it, you can make the bracha.
So they're masupik because the whole thing is a shtickle joke to be kind of the room. So be Yotzei the bracha with him because he's making things 100%. It's not mamish right. No, I don't think anyone mamish 100%. But Chayyid Mashmo says the Yitaka could make a bracha on the room that you're staying in or on the whole house, on the living room also. Why Lama Yigara from the Bachra that lives at home that you're visiting for 2 weeks that you should have a Chayyid Hadar. And that brings us to the whole question of if this is true that you see from Beis Shalgai that you're leaving. And this din that you're going to a place where you're going to be by a balabas, that it's not a din in... And the emissaries will have to see in Taf Lamed Zayin, by Seicher Maskra, there is some mashmos of a kinyan. But if it's the pshat that it's Chavis Hadar, it's where you live and where you're... where you have a hishtamshus shalkvius, that's enough to be mechayev. So that's going to get into a number of other cases. Emes is, I'll just be moisif, we saw already in Taf Lamed Gimel, Beis Knesses. Beis Knesses is the place where you make a bracha. So, do I own the Beis Knesses? Is it only someone who's a member who has a shutfus in the Beis Knesset? Clear not. That means the communal shul. Every person has a chiyuv there. So the Pesach say you should send the gabbai, the shamas, that he should do it. But the ma'aseh, everyone's chiyuv. So why? So hein advarim. Because it's not telling the kinyan. It's not telling. And this is the Beis Knesset is a bigger chiddush because that's not even regular diurim. You see, it doesn't have to be your house, but it's a place where you have shtamshus kavua, And it's a makom that's, even if it's miyuchel rabbin, but it's a place that this rabbin, this kehila is mishtamish with that makom. So you have a chiyuv gomer to do b'tikas chametz over there. You've got any bailos, any kinyan. So l'chayr loy yigara, your parents' house that you're staying in for a few weeks, from a base knesses where you're b'chal, you're more kavua mitzad echad meidach gisa. You have much less tashmishi dira and tashmishi chametz than you do when you're staying somewhere for a few weeks.
So someone shouldn't be machmer to make a kinyan.
Right. The question is, any mashmos that kinyan, it's like a little bit of a
Shiva and
Not
this is
like
like
gar- yeah, it's a chukh v'tzur. It's ma'am she'en
That's
Schiers that we're talking about, Dina Digmar, is emes schiers. We're talking about someone who takes the maftech and he's talking about real.
Saying so.
The question is this:
you don't need kinyan, and you don't have
just
to.
like you don't have to make a kinyan on your base knesset.
there.
You know, if you have a shul in the middle of your neighborhood, no one does b'dikas chametz. Every single person in that kilo is over an isser of not being vaydik. I don't know if you're allowed to go into that shul on Pesach and b'emsa Pesach you'd have to do b'dikas chametz. Why? What kinyan do I have on that shul? I have no stand I don't pay dues. I don't nothing. I just use the shul and yeah, you still have a chiyuv. And that's the discussion a lot of Svarim already from the Chazon Ish. They were discussing the question of Bachrim in the dorm. So again, some of the place can start saying, did they pay tuition, no tuition? If he's not against tuition, not tuition.
Isn't this only if you bring chametz into the place?
It has to be a makom shemach nitzvah chametz, yeah.
Meaning if
No, it has to be. You're in a place, you don't have to bring the chametz in. You're in a place, the makom shemach nitzvah. Let's say you're allergic to gluten or whatever, you don't have any chametz the whole year. But other people bring chametz in your house because you have guests over. That would be enough to mechayiv, yeah, because you have chametz in your house, the place you live.
The son-in-law should make his own bracha for his room, or he should be
Why not be yotzei? I don't see why not be yotzei. But let's say you miss it.
If
You miss the
it's
bracha. You
not-
can make
if
your
it's
bracha.
not- make a bracha. So how's that? So that's like an ironclad raya that it's something
I'm glad you think so. Good.
No, is there-
Ulay yish makom l'fakvik. The base knesses is your base knesses for the whole life. It's your here. It's only for 2 weeks. Maybe yish makom l'chag. We can start saying chiluk for tomorrow. B'chayir nechanami. That's right. Now,
Someone's traveling, it gets late, and he comes in after the Bedika, like you said. So he missed the Bedika.
by his shred.
Sure, and he didn't even move in yet. He
So
didn't
the
have a-
question is, that's very nageh. Sometimes people come erev Pesach. You know, b'yoyim erev Pesach. So if they did a bedika on the whole house, so now there's nothing left for you to do. If by night, let's say you come late and they miss the bracha, so if the room you're moving into, you can do bedika there. If they didn't do bedika there, so. But in Achanami, if you miss the bedika and then you come in afterwards, you came into Makam Badak, maybe they were your shliach on some way, shape, or form, since you were as Aldaskein, so they were doing the bedika for you as well, since you're going to be from the Bnei Bayis, maybe and maybe not, but either way, shuv, what's the problem? So again, if you sold your whole house back in wherever you are, let's say you're in the same country, so you sold your whole house, and then you only came Yom Yudalit. Now, if you were in your house below Yudalit, by Arlar Basar, could be you'll have a chiyuv. Tell them now you're saying no. Let's say Arlar Basar, you're planning on selling your whole house, you're not going to do bedika, you're semich on these places. And then by day, you're going to go to your parents' house that already did a bedika. Maybe make them a shliach.
Because you know that you're going to
But you're not-
right.
you're
It's
not
still
done
doing
yet.
it for you. And that-
Okay.
You haven't moved in yet.
But
It's
let's
still a
you
dar.
haven't moved in yet.
Wait.
Well, let's say you don't make them a shliach, but they do
Come to a
bedika.
hotel, you come to a hotel.
Let's say you go to their house, but you don't do bedika. So what? Is there any problem? So again, if you think there's a karkaf to the gavra, so you're mafkiya, you're chiyav, and you shouldn't have sold the whole house. But if there's no such thing as karkaf to the gavra, and it's just a question of where you're dar, so you came to a place where they did bedika, I assume that's just as good. I mean, coming into a house that's badik.
It's a gemara. It's serious if you're safer.
No, we don't know what he did before he left.
Yeah, over here we're talking where you're selling your house, and mafkiya, the chiyav of your house. Okay, Akapanim, the Rav has a tshuva in Minchas Asher Chela Gimel Siman Chav Ches, where he says that Lamaisa, these chiyuv, that would be marchiv, that which we are being marchiv this chiyuv. You don't have to own the house. It's just a place where you have tashmishim kruin. You have a raya from Beis Knesses. You're talking about dormitories and about, but it has to be some kind of tashmishim kruin. And the mashal, so he has a shiloh, which is unfortunately to get every year is in a hospital. So someone is in a hospital. So there, he kind of that there's no chiyuv bedika, because that's already. Maybe that's more similar to what you were asking the other week about, you know, the local playground. Local playground is a place that people use. No one thinks you have to do bedika. I don't think over there. Probably because it's more of a hefkeris. It's less shaykh to a certain group of people, or a certain gehila. It's less of a tashmishim kruin for a certain, I don't know, for a certain.
Is it mostly for the shchenim over there?
Yeah, I don't know. So it's a good issue, but it's more like Rosh Hashanah. So Elamai, the base cast is also Rosh Hashanah. So Elamai, no, the base cast is more of fart. It's more of something that's a makom mishutaf mibein akila as opposed to a place that's just in the Rosh Hashanah. So a place he is over there in the tshuva that has no kvias bechlal on a hospital bed that can move you from one place to the next. You have no real any kvias, so there'd be no chiyuv bedika. okay, you obviously would have to clean out the little aron next to the bed that you keep your belongings there. You have to clean it out. But that wouldn't be midin or larbas or breaking Chometz, but rather midin cleaning your kisim and your pockets, but without a bracha.
There's no chiyuv bedika. We're not.